In this video, we will be doing a deep dive into Starfield's playtesters' comments, and I'll be sharing my opinions about them. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. So, Starfield's gameplay was shown on the Series X. Before getting into details, I want to quote the title of an article written by Tom Warren, a senior editor for The Verge, covering Microsoft, PC gaming, console gaming, and tech. The article is titled, "Microsoft acquiring Bethesda after hearing Starfield would be exclusive to PlayStation." In a $7.5 billion deal to acquire ZeniMax Media, the parent company of Elder Scrolls and Fallout of Bethesda Softworks. At the close of the deal, Microsoft promised Xbox and PC exclusives, and it has so far shipped Redfall with Starfield, set for September 6th debut. Bethesda's up-and-coming Indiana Jones game is also an exclusive for Xbox and PC. That being said, here are the game studios Microsoft acquired in the $7.6 billion deal. Bethesda's game studios, ID Software, ZeniMax Online Studios, Arcane, Machine Games, who had a hand in making Wolfenstein Youngblood, Tango Gameworks, AlphaDog, last but not least, Roundhouse Studios, or formerly known as Human Head. So there's some background and overview of Bethesda and Microsoft. Now let's talk about the gameplay of Starfield. Seeing the gameplay on the Xbox Series X was neat, and it looked really nice. The hardware inside of the Xbox Series X is already 3 years old now, and the GPU industry has seen 2 generational releases of new GPU hardware for PCs. This observation alone has me a little worried for Xbox players and console enthusiasts. Seeing how massive this game is going to be, I'm assuming it's going to be incredibly demanding, which gives the developers a good reason to put an FPS cap on console, giving the player a smoother gaming experience without frame drops. Todd Howard, a video game designer, director, and producer for Bethesda, explained in the Starfield showcase video that they prioritize graphical quality over FPS because they want to show off the beauty and art of Starfield.
From the rocks at your feet to the mountains in the distance, to the people and creatures that live in these worlds. That isn't just a backdrop. That moon is actually there orbiting the planet. Yes, you can visit it too. We realistically simulate the galaxy around you. Our next generation lighting model uses real-time global illumination to light the world based on the type of star and the makeup of the planet's atmosphere.
Capping the frames on console just makes sense to me. Starfield is supposed to be an immersive single-player game with thousands of beautiful worlds to explore. Keeping the quality high while capping frames is the right decision, in my opinion. People are going to be playing Starfield for years, he says, because of the scale and scope of things to do. I feel like this statement is somewhat accurate. The first thing that comes to mind is Fallout 4's incredibly repetitive and linear quests. The main premise is as follows: talk with a settler, accept their quest, kill some enemies, return back to the settler, and get a reward. Honestly, that's a majority of the side quests in Fallout 4. As much as I loved playing Fallout 4, the atmospheric, post-apocalyptic setting was my main reason behind playing the game. The game is extremely immersive with beautiful, eerie sound design that kept me exploring, no matter how boring and repetitive the quests got. My point behind all of this is, I truly hope the quests in Starfield have more depth to them compared to Fallout. Years of playing Starfield is definitely possible, I hope. We're gonna have to wait and find out. Starfield has no multiplayer. It's 100% single player. Straightforward and enough for me. Although it would be pretty badass exploring the universe with a buddy, space seems very lonely. There will be expansions in the future. So this honestly never crossed my mind. The scale and scope of the game as it was described led me to assume space exploration was endless as is. I think expansions are a great way to keep games somewhat fresh, So it'll be interesting to see how these expansions will affect the exploration experience. Melee combat is fun. Hearing this was expected. Fallout games have always had an emphasis on melee combat or melee character builds, including melee specific perk trees and abilities. The weapon handling and combat in the Fallout series was a little clunky in my opinion. In the gameplay reveal of Starfield, the developers mentioned they completely overhauled the combat system and movement. I feel like this is a huge win for Bethesda, although we must wait and see for ourselves. The combat footage in the gameplay looked buttery smooth and honestly was a little reminiscent of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare's jetpack boost, if you played that game. So I'm crossing my fingers for some smooth gameplay, combat mechanics, and movement, and I wonder how the game will feel with the gravity affecting the movement as well, since we're in space. The game feels like a kind of No Man's Sky, but with the essence of Bethesda RPGs like Fallout and Skyrim combined. So this was pleasant to hear. I've never played No Man's Sky, but I do know it's massive when it comes to exploring. Now, when you combine that with the RPG style of Fallout and Skyrim, we have Starfield. That kind of puts things into perspective for me, and I'm just super stoked to just explore the universe and see how much of it we can really explore. If you want to know more about No Man's Sky, I'll link a video in the description to just a review video about it. It's pretty cool. Vastly different than Starfield, but I think the scale is what we're looking at here. The cities are reminiscent of Mass Effect and Oblivion and are full of NPCs. They even have different districts connected by a subway system. I played Mass Effect Andromeda 2 times, and even though the game was pretty buggy, the exploration aspect of it really made the game for me. I'm hoping Starfield doesn't limit you to boundaries while exploring planets. I would love to see massive open world exploration on each planet. I also hope the NPCs don't crowd an area. A good example of this would be like Cyberpunk. If you've played Cyberpunk, the NPCs that spawn, it's just huge crowds. I think it's a little overkill, the amount of NPCs that are in the game. Of course, it gives it like that Night City vibe. I wish that it was scaled back a little bit in terms of NPCs. And you can actually, in the settings of Cyberpunk, you can change the amount of NPCs that are roaming. That was just a comparison I want to throw out there, that I hope that in Starfield, the NPCs, we don't get a similar NPC system as Cyberpunk. On the topic of subway systems, I think that's a really cool idea, but will we be limited to fast traveling, having to rely on actual transportation? So I like the idea of the subway system. In my opinion, fast traveling sometimes ruins the exploration aspect of an open world RPG. And I'll go back to like Fallout or even Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk you could fast travel, but in Fallout I started to just fast travel everywhere. And of course it's convenient. I just feel like fast travel can sometimes ruin a game's exploration aspect on some occasions. Alright, I'm going to talk about the last topic here. Both the missions and the places that we will explore are handcrafted. We will spend a lot of time in the cities. I sure do hope this statement is true. I believe this is the reason why Fallout got boring so quickly for me. Everything just looked the same, but then again, what is a post-apocalyptic setting supposed to look like? I'm talking more about the buildings and architecture starting to get dull for me. Since Starfield isn't limited to one large city like Fallout, I'm excited to see the different architecture styles on each planet. Another big highlight for Bethesda is their looting system. They really like to populate areas with lootable items and fill the world around the player with, quote, lots of stuff.
We do love stuff and all of the items allowing you to pick everything up, and you can view all that in your data menu. This is the hub.
Well, if you made it this far in the video, I want to say thank you. Thank you for putting up with me for the past almost 10 minutes. I hope this was interesting to you, because it's extremely interesting to me. Not only video games in general, but more of the behind the scenes and also the business side. It's all just really interesting to me. Please leave a comment down below. I really want to know if you are genuinely excited for this game, because I am. I've been waiting so long. I've been waiting so long for a space exploration game made by Bethesda, because I love the Fallout series. I played a little bit of Oblivion. I love I love it. I love what they do. I love their games, the concepts. And if you did make it this far, I want you to comment down below these exact words. Your mama. All right, guys. Peace out. Take care. See you on the next video.